All right, we're live. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me on episode 3 of Coronatined with a Copywriter. Today, I am interviewing the man, the myth, the legend, Carlos Redlich, a mentor and friend of mine. I'm super pumped that he has decided to come on and join us for this weird series that I'm doing right now. Thanks so much for being here, Carlos.
I appreciate you having me here, man. It's an honor. I've seen a couple of the last guests you've had on, so I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to bring my A game here.
I'm sure you will definitely be up to par, if not overshoot everything I know about you. So before we dive in really quick, can you just give us a brief overview about what you do and maybe some of the success you've had so far so people have some context?
Yeah, sure. So I actually started out as a martial artist. I had a couple martial arts schools in Jacksonville, Florida. I ran it with a business partner of mine, Vit Singh, really good friend of mine, awesome dude. But we ended up not doing martial arts schools anymore because, he did his own thing. And I was fortunate enough to be trained a little bit in this copywriting stuff by my original martial art instructor, Dwight Woods. And I was super happy about that because what ended up happening is when I started writing copy for people, I didn't realize the power of it. Like, I didn't realize you could just hand in like a Google document or a Word document and make some freaking money. So Vit and I, there's a purpose to me bringing this whole thing up. So Vit and I, we were paying about 10 grand a month in rent, or trying to pay 10 grand a month in rent, I should say, for our martial arts school. Now, to put that into perspective, I had started writing copy, and within our first 6 months, I had already made like 100 grand in sales, and it was writing Google documents. In my head, this is how simple it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm writing emails and short little landing pages, and my biggest skill set was just trying to close the deal and do what I call like sales compression and trying to get like 50 grand, in one day versus spread out over a year or something, right? So, long story short is I kind of stumbled into the copywriting game as a martial artist and started using the same kind of mentality and principles that I used to start growing my martial arts school and that I just use in martial art in general as a copywriter, as that business owner. And that kind of took me a little bit further. And now I've been fortunate to work with folks like Agora, who's a $1 billion company, and Ryan Stewman, Anthony Powell, who's actually a mentor of mine. He's generated over $2 billion in sales. And a lot of these folks that otherwise I would have never had the privilege of being around. I just didn't come from a community where I was surrounded by $100 million guys and $10 million people here. It just wasn't normal for me. So now that I've been fortunate to kind of be surrounded by people who I consider far further ahead than me, it's cool because I get to lift other people up as well. So I now train a lot of other copywriters. I write copy myself, but I also train other copywriters on how to close deals, how to get clients, and how to grow their business as well. So it's a cool thing. I have mentors who help pull me up, and in return, I do the same thing and pull other people up to where I am.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, I'm in your mentorship group, so I know firsthand some of the awesome value and support that you give us week in and week out. And so I'm trying to not let that too heavily influence this call either, because obviously I get a bit of a better look at the day in the life of Carlos that maybe some other people don't get. So probably I'd like to start, before we dive into Carlos, the copywriter man, I'd like to get to talk about a couple of surfacey things, which
cool.
Starting with your newly developed obsession with poker.
Absolutely. I love poker.
Where did that come from? What happened?
I got a poker chip here from Ryan Stewman. Shout out to my homie Ryan Stewman.
What happened? You went from, I don't even know what you were into, and then all of a sudden there was an announcement and you're like, I love poker. This is the best thing ever.
Well, so it's interesting. I got into this with a few other internet marketing friends as well. And we go to the casino now on a week. Well, not now because of the coronavirus, we play online, but we're going like on a weekly basis and stuff. And we're playing like low stakes games. I'm not a professional. Like I'd get cleaned up by anybody who's been playing for like a year, probably. I'm still very new. But I've gotten better, and I'll I'll give credit where credit's due in a second. So, anyways, the obsession with poker, I don't know. I played one game at this guy Joseph Lazukin, I think I'm pronouncing your last name right, Joe, played a game at his house, $200 buy-in, my first ever poker game. I had never played poker. I liked the idea of poker. Maybe like other people, it was like a mystical thing for some reason, like all these people playing like high stakes cash games, like cigars and cowboy hats and real Wild West American crazy stuff. Just like this thing in my head. I never even picked up cards, right? So I go in, I buy in for $200. I watched a few YouTube videos while we're playing poker with like 8 other people or whatever at the table. I have my phone out looking at what the hands are, because I don't even know what the hands are. So like obviously my hands are sweaty, I'm trembling, and we're playing for $200. Like, sure, it's a lot of money, but like people pay for much more and stuff, And I'm like, $200 didn't crush me, but I was so like, it was a different feeling. I'm like, we could be playing for $5 and I'm going to have this, like, I don't want to lose my money, or it's a big risk. Like, something about it really resonated with me. Like, it made me feel like I was like the beginner in business again. And like, I don't have all the tools needed to really get to what I want to go to. Like, I can do this shit copywriting and make money anytime. Like, I have I'm confident. But this poker stuff, it was so similar, but I just didn't have the tools. I didn't know what hands to play, what ranges to play. I didn't have the tools to get the results. So anyways, I got cleaned out. I lost all my money. Pretty much every time I played at his house. It was multiple times after that. And then I was like, I got to just learn how to play, because I'm loving the fact that it's like this competition. It's still making money type of stuff. I don't know. There's just a lot of, and the networking that you get depending on where you're playing and stuff. Like, there's a lot of really high level entrepreneurs that play Texas Hold'em poker.
Wow, that's
and it's
awesome.
Like, I've played with guys who for $200 games. I played with people who have $100 million in their account and they're playing with us. And it's like, it's a very interesting networking experience. And again, coming from martial arts, I still like the, beating somebody at something, but I'm not trying to get hit in the head and get a headache. So this is a way to, like, this is going to sound so bad. It's a way to inflict pain on the enemy without really inflicting pain. I like to see them.
That's all right. Yeah.
Dude, I love seeing, and it'll happen to me more than I do it to anybody else, so I can say this, but I love seeing when their money gets drained from their chips start dragging over to me, and I see them sweating. I see their demeanor change. Their shoulders slump forward. Their fucking confidence is drained out. And all of it within like a 20-minute time span from being like this. So I love seeing the transition, and to be able to do that with chips and just little, anyways, it's unbelievable. So I love it. I don't really know the full fascination with it. This is kind of me self-analyzing myself.
So many things there, but yeah.
But what I did, I take my own advice, right? So I'm a fan of getting a coach. So I do that anytime I want to get good at something. Because if I suck, I can just learn it the hard way. Or if I'm okay with spending a little bit of money or something, I can just go get a coach who can train me so I don't lose a lot more money. So I was losing basically every freaking game I played. I got myself a coach named Seth Bias or BS. I can't even pronounce your last name, dude. I'm sorry. BIAS. And he's a really cool guy. He gave me his first piece of advice made me, I still use it to this day. I'm not even going to share it. But his first piece of advice, he's like, literally just play these hands and only play when you're sitting at like this position at the table and like this exact scenario. Other than that, fold everything. Even if you've got money in the pot, fold, lose it. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose more money if you play otherwise. So I literally started doing that. I took it to my first game the next day after, because I hired him got him as a coach, went and played a game afterwards. I won that game. It was a tournament style game. I won, came number 1. Did it again, came number 2. Did it again, came number 1. And now I'm like, I mean, I lose, I win, I lose, I win. But I before was only losing, right? So anyways, I mean, I'm not sure if that answers you. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. But, if I want to get good at something, I just get a coach who's got the answers. Like just get it. This guy made $100,000 or something, a little bit less than, or a little bit more than $100,000 last year, just on his poker stuff. He's an internet marketer. This guy's an internet which shows a lot of stuff, right? Marketer, business people love poker. So that's really his stuff. He doesn't even teach poker for real. He just plays it on the side. And I'm like, yo, can you mentor me and I'll mentor you in some copywriting stuff and we can just do some cool deals. And we did, and it's been a game changer. So anyway,
it worked out. That is awesome. No, that's great. I just like, I want to see, I like see you as a supervillain now all of a sudden? You just like that moment, you're like, it's there. And I just like, anyways, that would be fun to explore so many things. But I had one other question that I was really excited to ask you because I wouldn't know this. What's the best prank you've ever pulled?
I don't know. I mean, the best prank I've ever pulled. Uh, I mean, when I was a kid, I like went to a family member's house who upset me, and I I was a kid, right? But I
Okay.
was, I guess, able to drive, so I was a teenager.
Okay.
I pooped in a bag and lit it on fire in front of their doorstep and knocked on the door, and they're like, "What the?" And then they saw me speed off.
Oh, they saw your car. They're like,
Yeah,
Cousin
I
Carlos,
told them. I mean, it was a
yes.
family member, so I told them. They're like, "Did you do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was
Yeah.
me." So
I
that
am.
was that sticks in my mind. It's probably like 15 years ago
Oh
or
my
something,
goodness.
16 years ago more.
Oh, that's all right. I was just curious. I just am like, I feel like Carlos has probably done some stuff, and this would just be hilarious to hear. And you did. You delivered. My opinion.
Yeah, that was one. I'm more of a when I was younger and whatnot and like single. I used to like putting my friends in weird situations when they were because a lot of guys are scared of approaching women when they're single,
Hmm.
and I wasn't one of them. After I did it a while, like I was for
Yeah,
a
yeah,
long
yeah.
time, and then I wasn't after I realized that like nothing can happen.
Hmm.
So but a lot of guys still had the fear. So I love putting my friends in weird situations where they'd be like, "Oh my God, she's so hot." I'd be like, "Oh my God, really?" And I'd
Hmm.
walk up to her and I'd say, "Hey, my friend over here thinks you're super cute. Can I make an introduction?" And those were, I guess, pranks, but they would freak out. They drench in
They
sweat. They
run.
wouldn't know what to do.
Oh,
And I'm like, these are buff guys working
these
out.
are
I'm like, you
puppies.
can't talk to a pretty girl. You're
You
like
just
fucking
said like,
300 pounds.
yeah.
What are you
That no
doing?
wonder. No wonder you like poker so much. It's just like the adult version for you. You're just
It
like,
really
man, I
is.
just watch them go from powerful to
Dude, it
yeah.
really is. And then you talk to them during the hand and kind of tilt them a little bit because if you make fun of people in a polite way at the poker table, sometimes they'll go in on hands they shouldn't. Or I did this with my sales manager yesterday. I lied to him. He actually believed me. I'm like, why would I? We're playing poker, bro? Of course. I'm like, oh, I
All
only
bets
have
are off.
this hand. And he's like, oh yeah, and he went all in, and I lied. I had a full house. And I was like, yeah, bro. What do you think? I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you the truth. It's poker.
Wow. Okay.
So.
So I'm shocked at and I hear this. Not only does it obviously sound like a great time, but I'm just hearing a bajillion marketing like strategies and perspectives that are like going in your mind, Mister Master Persuasion. But
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think it's fun. The poker table brings out a lot of funny stuff. It's
yeah.
it's like you're gonna trust the competition? No. Everything they say, I believe none of it. You have to show me.
But it must be refreshing because you're just like everybody's a liar here. I don't have to put up any defenses. I just don't believe anyone.
I just don't believe anyone, or you
Yeah.
know what to play. I don't want to make this a poker call because I could probably talk about this for hours,
Oh,
and I'm a
yeah,
total
yeah.
beginner, and I would give bad advice.
Okay.
But it's funny, man. I love playing it because it does,
That's
and especially when you play with other marketers, it's just like you see it, man. It's just fun, and you see anyways,
hmm,
a lot of cool stuff.
that's
Great
awesome.
networking.
Yeah, that too. That's amazing. Um, well,
Actually,
cool.
I already told you about the $100 million guy. We were playing at a certain place,
Mhm.
and we had the table set up very
Undisclosed
nicely.
location. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. Yeah. So,
All right.
anyways,
It's okay. Of course. Yeah.
so we and this guy saw it, and he kind of walked by it, and this area is a very like this specific building is very like everybody in here like makes 10 million plus,
Mm.
and this guy was like came wanted to play. Anyway, I didn't let him play because he told me he plays in the casino 3 times a week, and this like I'm like, well, you're rich and you're gonna crush us.
Hmm.
Not gonna happen today. But let's connect. Let's get numbers. So I connected with this guy. I like picked him up, right? We connected with this guy, and he's balling, he's crushing, and we have a similar connection now. We
Hmm.
talk about poker and all these different things
That's
and a
awesome.
business. But it didn't just start off as business. We actually built a cool little friendship, and the guy is like 50 years older than me.
Wow, that's
It's
amazing.
unbelievable. So you meet mentors in unexpected places.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that was awesome. Thanks so much for taking us on your little poker journey there, letting us in a little bit to the person, the man behind the marketer. And I guess, yeah, with that theme, kind of want to transition into a bit more of some maybe formative experiences and mindsets that you have that impact how you operate. As I mentioned prior to the call, we frequently get really excited about the systems and methods that people teach, and obviously they're effective, but the real power comes from the person that actually created them. And so anytime that we can get a better look at what the way they think or the way that what motivates them, we are that much better off when we go to implement those same types of strategies. So one thing that I have found is frequently marketers kind of have one or a few experiences in life that really either start the ball rolling for them or kind of shape the way that they frame a lot of their work. So to kind of reference back, it's kind of not necessarily maybe a reference back point. So would you say, was there like a moment that you can remember in the past that kind of influenced the way that you maybe see the world or see people that you translate into your work?
Yeah, this is going to get really, I don't want to, I'm going to go quickly over it so it doesn't seem like it gets dark, because it's not meant to be dark, but you're asking a question that can only be, the answer is a traumatic event usually. So
okay.
It's not a really traumatic event. But so one of my best friends when I was growing up, Snuff is what his nickname was. His name is James, though. He was unfortunately killed. And he was shot, killed, dumped on a park by our house. Crazy stuff happened. But before this, we were young, and he had these dreams of going and being $100,000 guy, working on computers and doing all this cool stuff. But the thing is, he never really did it. And by the time he was starting to try to do it, he'd already wasted years talking about what he was going to do. And by the time he actually went to like school to start doing this stuff, he was killed like less than a year later. And he was less than 30 years old, young guy, all this stuff. And so when I saw him in the coffin, nothing was in there. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, you know what? This is really fast. This guy had dreams. We were talking about it just not even that long ago. But he didn't take fucking action fast enough. And all he did was, unfortunately, not much in life, and then passed away. Yeah. And I don't want that shit to happen to me. And there's no one that saved him. There was no one that came and said, this is what you're going to do. We all wait for somebody to come and help us or point us in the direction. We wait for the mentor to come and guide us. But the mentor doesn't come. You chase the mentor down. There's no reason they need to chase you down. You chase them down. That's why they're the mentor. And so when I got that, I was like, well, we're not getting out of this alive. This guy was super young, didn't expect this shit to happen. This could happen to me. It could happen to fucking anybody. It was random. So it's like, I got to get on it. And so from then on, I just don't really, I see excuses as bullshit, because I'm like, and I'm lazy with stuff. I'm like, my buddy Mike here runs like 3 miles a day up a mountain. Like, man, I'm taking a nap. Right. So it's not going to twist. I'm not like David Goggins or Mike McDaniels over here, like working like crazy. But when it comes to little shit that's easy, like, adding people on your Facebook, from a Facebook group, adding them to your personal thing and sending them a personalized message, little stuff like that. It's not hard. It makes a big difference, but people don't do it. And I'm just like, you're going to die. You could at least fucking send a message, right? So a lot of it, and so again, I'm not trying to make this a dark thing, but that's really what affected a lot of stuff. I relate things back to that. I'm like, well, you know what would Snuff have done? Or what would he have done? He have waited too long. I can't let that happen.
Yeah. No, well,
so that really affects everything. That's why I'm super fast on action. Just take action now. Just do it.
Yeah, well, no, that's what when I was thinking about you, and I'm like, what is one thing that like I get like Carlos exemplifies, and that's like action. You implement, you take action, and you adjust, you don't do it rashly, like there's like an actual thought process. So then how do you cultivate, or how do you recognize the difference between actioning something quickly and then making like a poor decision?
Well, I look at it like, what's the simplest way to get from point A to point B before complicating it? Let's try to get some results. For example, a lot of people will say, I need to put a funnel together to sell this product and this and that and whatever thing, right? And that's true. But let's say you have a 5-step funnel. There's 5 steps in there where there's a lot of possibilities for people to fall off, for it to not work. There's a lot of steps. So I look at things, I'm like, well, what's the fastest way to get the desired result? Doesn't have to, usually the non-sexy way is the way I like to start.
Yeah.
So let's get people to comment on a little post and let's direct reach out to them, start some conversations, and try to close the deal. Not sexy, not a funnel that's automated, requires manual labor, but now it also gets a result and gets money in the account. At the end of the day, I don't want to have to be poor again, wondering where my money is coming from. And I don't want to be the person who died almost accomplishing a dream. Don't want that. Two things that haunt me. And it can be solved if you just reduce all the steps into a simple thing that can be at least done initially to get some kind of desired result. And now you self-fund that big idea of a 5-step funnel in this case with the money that you did that generated the result, right? So you shouldn't ever be going too much in the hole. If you've got a crazy idea, you just fund it doing the harder version of the idea, which is supposed to help it be easier, if that makes sense. Maybe
no, I mean, that's well, no, that's the same model that when I was kind of trying to figure out what's the next step, because I have such an extensive background in email marketing, and I'm like, I could help a lot of people with this, but then you spend some time looking at it and then just like, no, like the focus on the things that will make you money and then funnel your excess cash into all of your other stuff, because bootstrapping doesn't work across multiple levels. You only want to bootstrap one thing at a time. Don't try and bootstrap like multiple things. So stick with the thing that will make you money, and then use your money to funnel that and make the other things easier. So with that perspective, then, do you find that it's pretty easy for you to communicate? So you kind of have these two, like, blessings and a curse, I guess, kind of like your dreams, but also your worst case scenario, like you carry with you. Do you feel like that helps you relate to people whenever you're writing copy? Is that
Could. I mean, my copy stuff, I'm not the best copywriter in the world. I'm good enough to get results for a lot of clients, but I'm probably a better closer and have a better team of copywriters who can handle stuff for me. So my advice for copywriting is different than maybe whoever your favorite copywriter is in the world, right? So here's my advice, because it works for me. And I'm just, again, my mentality is more, what's the simplest, fastest, quickest fucking thing we could do? I'm not trying to invent something. So what I do is I'll just go, and this is probably what a lot of people do actually. I'll just go and find different stories. So for example, I wrote a credit repair advertorial recently where it's for people who are in, bad credit card debt and they want to repair it or get it forgiven in some way. Well, I don't know their full pain point. I have an idea of what it is. We've all been in debt, but maybe they have some other shit that I'm not understanding. So I just went and typed in credit card debt help forums, blah, blah, blah on Google. And then there's massive articles on Reddit of people complaining in virtually any industry, niche, whatever. And those big, massive essay complaints and pain, it ends up usually being a nice chunk of my sales copy.
That's
what I
awesome.
did for this advertorial is I copy and pasted an entire Reddit story of this person, posted it, and said, the 7 tips I wish I knew before I got into debt or whatever the heck it was. It was the 7 tips this guy listed, except for a few. And then, and then modified a little, but that was it. It was done in like an hour, not even an hour, probably like 20 minutes, because it was copy, paste, modify, and that resonates with people because it's exactly what they were thinking. So, so hopefully that answers a little bit there.
No, that's perfect. That's awesome. And so I had planned on asking you kind of what things are important to cultivate, what mindsets are important, but obviously speed, implementation, minimum viable product, go for it.
Viable product, and then nurturing. You want to make sure that the people you're closing on deals feel like they're not getting ripped off. I'll give you a good example. We recently got hired to do a $15K project. I was trying to remember the price. $15K project, big fucking project. Guy wasn't happy with one of the things that my copywriter was turning in, and frankly, I wasn't too happy with it too. But that's our fault. This client, I was literally thinking like, oh my gosh, what are we going to have to do with him? So he told me, say, hey, you know what? This is a huge client. He's like, let's just cut it. No refunds, no nothing. Don't even worry about it, man. Let's just say it was a bad deal. I told him, I was like, dude, I'm going to rewrite it myself 100% free. If it doesn't convert, I'm going to rate it again 100% free for a fucking year until it converts. So you paid 15 grand for one sales letter, but you had a year's worth of sales letters for free until one of them converts. So you make far more money than your initial investment. He was like, dude, I don't even expect that to happen. But I told him that my reputation, especially in uncertain times like this, is going to be extremely critical. And if I just start losing clients because of dumb shit, I'm going to be out of business quickly. So we have to also be able to admit faults, but also try to rectify it. Rectifying it doesn't necessarily mean a refund. I'm not a fan of refunds. Let's stick in the game. And fortunately, he didn't want one, but he was just going to cut it. But, you know, a lot of copywriters and service providers in general would just be like, well, damn, that sucks. He doesn't like my project. He cut it. I'm just going to take the money because he already paid me, but we'll just never do business with that guy. That's a horrible mentality because it ruins your reputation in the community and it ruins you not getting any money in the future. You're going to get more money doing shit for free for this person because no one else will do it. This is my mentality, at least. Doing some shit for free because they initially paid for something, weren't happy. Now we're over delivering. So now he's like, I can't even believe a copywriter would say that. And more than, and like, I'm putting it in writing. It's done. Like, this is what I'm going to do. They don't believe it. So the chances, and this is a huge client. So the chances of them coming back to us and saying, you know what, dude, the last promo you did write for us with a free one actually did well or did decently, did whatever. Let's hire you for another one. Because they know now I'm not going to screw them over. If something ever goes south, I'm still here with you, dude. I'm not just taking your money and running like most internet marketers. We're here and we're still working.
Yeah.
As long as they want to keep working with us.
Nah, yeah, awesome. So then kind of you are saying that guarding your reputation.
You want to be in their corner. Yeah, you want to be in their corner. You want to nurture. So you want to be able to take fast action and all of that good stuff. Absolutely. But what happens with fast action is sometimes shit gets screwed up. Right? This sometimes happens. And so a lot of people don't talk about that, which is why I wanted to bring up this 15K
I think
deal.
that's awesome. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Sucks. But if you know, a lot of people don't talk about that. And I think that's part of the reason a lot of clients get screwed over because copywriters aren't leading by example. They're just wondering, oh, I guess that's it. But that's not what we should do as copywriters or as any service provider. Because if you are trying to nurture this client who isn't happy right now, there's a very good chance that they're going to remember that you're the person who stuck with them. You didn't just take off. You stuck with them. And there's value in that. There's value in being in the trenches with somebody until the war is over. Not just saying, well, fuck it, bro. Thanks for the gun. I'm dipping over here now. You don't want my help. You don't want my help. No, dude, you stick it.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So I would say you translate your resoluteness into your deals as well. So going after them and then seeing them through really
100%
until the client is done with you. You're not going to let them.
One of the fears I have in my head, and it may not be even a real thing that happens, but my thing, it actually keeps me in check to prevent it from happening, is I'm aggressive to close the deal, but I don't want it to feel like now I've closed the deal and now they don't hear from Carlos for 4 weeks. What the hell is going on? He was so aggressive until he got my money. Now he disappeared. So it's also important that, especially when you're charging a lot of money, you want to be able to keep people in the loop, right? Shoot them a message once a week or something saying, hey, nothing for you to do. Just want to keep you in the loop, tell you everything's going according to plan. If you want to hop on a call, let me know. Stuff like that really helps out, you know, nurturing people.
That's awesome. Look at you. Hospitality, man. You just like, there's a whole roll out the red carpet, freshly baked cookies. That's what you like show up.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I know that that you've got some other things on today, and so I really appreciate you taking time to connect with me and the audience, whoever watches this. Do you have any best ways for people to connect with you, or what would you encourage anyone to do watching this? Yeah,
well, I appreciate you letting me shout it out. So for anybody who's interested in learning how to get copywriting clients, or maybe even joining our mentorship, check out our at the time it's $7. It used to be $5. Price is literally going up. So at the time of this, it's $7. It's 3hourcopywriter.com. The number 3hourcopywriter.com. In that training, we show you how to get copywriting clients. At the end of the training, you can also book a little breakthrough session with one of our coaches. They'll explain our mentorship to you. And if it seems like a good fit, you can rock and roll with us. If it's not a good fit, you can still rock and roll, but you'll just rock and roll without us. So 3hourcopywriter.com.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. Like I said, I really appreciate you taking the time to connect with me here. And I'll see you around on Facebook, and thanks so much. Have a great one.
You got it, man. Talk
All
soon.
right. Bye-bye.